Ethics and AI don't always go together, but for Kaushal Thakkar, they do. When his SEO firm hit 200 people, he realized his model was broken. So he rebuilt it, leaning into AI, optimizing the work, and shrinking without hurting the team. Today, Infidigit is 35% smaller, but they're growing faster than ever, and their revenue per employee has improved 60%. He breaks down how he did it and what's changing in SEO for you. I'm Bryon Morrison. Let's get to the leaders list.
Everything is happening through these screens.
How are we getting the most out of that person?
I want to see this thing grow long term.
Amazing story. You have such a unique perspective on that.
Schedule a 2-week vacation.
I applaud those models.
Undervalued.
Secure your digital footprint as well.
Why were they even put in place in the first place?
Only the most adaptable survive. Let's get to the leaders list. All right. Kaushal Thakkar, thank you for joining us on the leaders list.
Thank you, Bryon. It's a pleasure being on this particular call.
Yeah, no, this is going to be great. I mean, Infidigit, fantastic organization specializing in search, but really, I mean, just understanding digital marketing in today's world. Incredible change. We all know that. But you have a particularly interesting story about something I think a lot of leaders are used to and great entrepreneurs are used to, where they were great in a job, they were in a corporate environment, and then things change. But it doesn't change the fact that they know what they were doing. And so tell us a little bit about your journey and how you decided to start Infidigit.
Fair. Thank you, Bryon, for that question, and really interesting. So I'll take you a few years back. I was on the corporate world working with a Walmart-owned company. And at that point in time, I was looking out for somebody to help me with SEO, leading digital marketing over there and a few channels. The challenge was to get the best returns on investment. And as a marketer, that's something which was bothering me, that, hey, I have the large ecosystems or the large organizations, I would not name them, but yes, every marketer deals with them. And I term them as partners in every business today, right? So when you are investing a huge amount of money in your marketing and not getting enough return on investments, that becomes a challenge for a marketer. And that's where many of the marketers are perceived as a cost center instead of a revenue center. Now that was bothering me as a marketer, that, hey, always if I have to be categorized as a cost center, what marketing I'm doing if we are not driving revenue? And then I started looking out that, hey, which are the channels which could help me? And that's where search engine optimization stood out, that, hey, at least this would be one channel which could help me get good return on investments. But then there was a need for somebody to drive that particular channel. Having previously worked on search engine optimization, I knew what needs to be done. And I was more focused on technical SEO. But at that point in time, I realized that other than me, I couldn't find anybody more efficient to do that particular work. After 6 months of search, I found one particular agency in US to help me with that particular assignment. And we started working out well. But when it took me 6 months, I realized that, hey, there are not enough players in this particular space. And situation came across one fine day, at least I was thinking about what to do next. And that's where I started Infidigit, to help brands specifically get better return on investments, not just work on activities, but work on outcomes. And that's something where we started with Infidigit.
And so when you knew that there was a need in the marketplace, classic example, you were a great practitioner. You were used to big companies though. So did you immediately think to yourself, I'm going to go get corporate clients and I'm going to focus on large scale implementation? Or did you think about downscale or down market?
So sometimes, Bryon, it's the universe which pushes you into your aspirations and your dreams. So I'll tell you my real story. After working with this Walmart brand, I moved into another brand, which was a startup. And that particular startup had its own challenge in terms of funding. So when the VCs started kind of pressuring us, One fine day, the situation came where the CEO called us and told us that, hey, there is no longer the budgets available to sustain this kind of operations. And 200 of us had to leave on that particular day. Now, in that particular situation, the challenge was that, hey, Kaushal, what do I do? What should Kaushal do next, right? And that's where, in that time, where at least we were fired, 200 of us, I wondered that, hey, should I go back to that Walmart-owned company and restart the entire thing, or should I start on my own? And that's where at least, I don't know if you believe in meditation, but I do believe, and I went for a 10-day Vipassana session. That meditation helped me transform myself. The fears in me, usually coming from a corporate world, having that fact check, you usually do not want to go into the agency space, right? Because you're getting good income. Who's going to take that risk as an entrepreneur, as a founder? But situation pushed me, and those 10 days made me realize that, hey, at least I need to overcome my fears, get into this particular space and do what I believe in, right? And that's where I knew that there is a market opportunity. And everything happened as if it was planned by the universe and by God, right? I was just a character in that particular thing, but things started moving one by one in that particular manner, where at least I had the need identified few months back when I was working at the Walmart-owned company. And then when I am at this particular organization, some things did not work out. VC pulled the funds. I am jobless. And now I don't have to worry about the things, right? I don't have anything to lose at this particular stage now without a job.
If you lose one client, it's that classic story of, who has the real risk? The person with one job for a corporation, that if you lose that job, you start over, or the entrepreneur who has hundreds of clients, and if they lose one, they figure that out.
What happened is, the first call which I did, as soon as that thought process was clear, I came back from Vipassana the next day. I said, okay, let me call my ex-boss at that Walmart-owned company. And I did that. At least I called him up, and he said, Kaushal, if you are starting your own agencies, please take care of your old baby. Nobody's able to take care of it. And he was referring to the search engine optimization practice in my past organization, right? So this large organization, which is the largest fashion retailer in India, and now enhancing its presence across APAC, that became my first client on day one. That was amazing. I never expected something like that would happen. But yes, as I told you, it was not my plan. It was the plan of the universe, plan of God, which made everything move in that direction. So yeah, I'm just a character playing that particular role.
That's awesome. And you've had incredible success. Tell me again, how long ago has that been since you started Infidigit? Was that 9 years or 10 years? Or?
Yeah, this April we are completing 9 years.
That's awesome. Okay. And you guys have grown to how many people do you guys have?
So now we are a team of 130 people working across various functions, most of them on generative engine optimization and search engine optimization. So mostly analyst profile, which is needed to kind of drive this quantum of growth for our clients and partners. So that's where at least we stand at 130 people working across various things.
So this is interesting though, because if I look at a couple of years ago, I see where, you're closer to 200 people, like you guys were scaling and you had been growing like that. And I think this is interesting because everybody talks about what growth stage they're in, right? And we hear all the time, well, I'm in scale stage. Yeah. And so when you really think about what are the true, operating stages, I'm curious what stage you would say you were in a couple of years ago versus what stage you're in today.
Fair. So I would term it as that, hey, we were scaling the team. And yeah, we were definitely at the scale stage. And now we are at the leaner stage where we are more agile, we are more leaner, and we are more faster. The transformation which happened, and thanks for observing it that closely, that, hey, we were 200 and now we are at 130. What has happened is over the last few years, with the advent of AI, many of the things which we were doing traditionally manually, we have been able to transform them into AI. Not that I'm 100% satisfied today as well. There is more room for optimization yet. But AI has enabled us to kind of move in that direction where whatever was done manually earlier, that could be easily kind of taken care of by agents today. AI agents are here to help. And if you devise your systems and processes in the right manner, it can help you kind of optimize an organization. So from that organization, which was 200 plus people, we moved into 130 people. But yes, our revenue is growing. Our clients are growing.
Right. And you have higher margins on your business probably, right?
Yeah. Yes, higher margins, as well as just in this last few months, we got almost around 30 plus awards, specifically because of our work on generative engine optimization stands out. We got that first mover advantage with generative engine optimization. So that's where more case studies published, more awards. So many awards just in a few months. That's something which helps us stand out.
Yeah. So the work is better, the margins are better, your revenue is scaling, your size is shrinking. And this is one of those things, so many people, like when you were in scale mode, you were probably thinking like, new account comes on, I've just got to get more people to plug that, make sure I'm doing it right. And so it's a luxury for some organizations to step back and work on the business, where you start recognizing you're moving from that scaling stage to actually optimizing the business. And so when you did that, because I think a lot of organizations are recognizing this. And by the way, I know you well enough that I know you didn't go in and go, cool, I get to hack staff. So this was really one of those things, like you went through this in a pretty methodical way. So talk to us about what your leaders list looked like when you decided you were going to make that optimization, move into that optimization stage.
Bryon, the reason I started Infidigit was one, which I told you that, hey, brands needed better return on investment. The second reason was somewhere down in my heart, I was worried about the youth across the globe. The youth is not getting those kind of opportunities that I got it in my early days, right? And there is lack of opportunity. That's what I see. Good talent, smarter talent, but lack of opportunities. So one objective which I had in my mind that, hey, at least I'm going to create employment for thousands of people. But come December 2022, when ChatGPT launched, that entire dream got shackled.
Altered.
Right?
Let's just say altered.
Yeah, altered would be a better word. So it was a challenge. Hey, everything, at least what I was trying to work towards that, hey, bring more business, get more people onto the job, that suddenly kind of changed. Now, first, I thought that, hey, I'll not use AI. But soon within the first few weeks only, I realized that, hey, if we are not using AI, you're nowhere. Even those 200 people who are on job, they would stand a chance of losing a job if I don't use AI. So there was a dilemma that, hey, what should we use? And that's where the first thing on my leader list, because of that, was that, hey, while it's definitely to create growth for the client and deliver value to the clients, the second thing was that, hey, at least how can I help the youth of this world to kind of get into the corporate world in their life. So that was the second thing. Now, with that particular motive, I realized that when I want to help somebody, the universe is there to help me, right? And yes, at least things started falling in place. The team took up the ownership because we had devised the systems in such a manner that at least people had their KRAs and OKRs created in such a manner that they were responsible for implementing AI. Initially, there was some resistance to it because they felt they would lose their job. So we told them that, hey, we are not going to fire anybody, right? We gave them that comfort that, hey, yes, at least if we cannot create jobs for others, it's okay for some time. But yes, at least we are not here to fire anybody. So that gave them that particular comfort. Those KRS gave them that push because they knew what are they working towards. And that clarity created that entire change. We started working towards more and more optimization, not only for our clients in terms of generative engine optimization, but optimizing our own organization. Now, this also brought in that particular change in the thought process of the people, and it started moving them in that direction of optimization. Today, with all the systems, processes, and everything implemented, it has helped us a lot, right? So when you speak of the leaders list, definitely, I would say bring value to the client. Do good for the society. And yes, all these things can be done with processes, systems, and structures coming into place. Now, if you create these three things properly, you are going to create a win-win-win situation for all the stakeholders.
Right. So you eliminate the fear of the technology. You help your people understand, like, this is just the reality of how work is going to happen, and so we're going to be better and better and better at it, and invest in that. And that probably, like, that larger scale group allowed you to be able to invest in like specific processes, specific automations, identifying better ways to do that, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So those three guiding principles established the specific initiatives that were on your leaders list.
Yes.
And so you got to a point where, I mean, obviously you do have a smaller headcount today, but if I understand that correctly, I think that was because of natural attrition. People were going to leave, and so as they would leave, or as they would, do something else, you just didn't replace the positions.
Yes, that's why I term it as we did not fill up those chairs. Those chairs are empty as of now as well, and that's perfectly fine. But yes, this did not happen over a year. So since 2023, we have purposely kind of reduced our recruitments. Right, only those roles which are absolutely necessary, those get hired. But yes, those roles which have got automated, we did not hire for that. So that created that comfort in the team as well, that hey, at least there is growth. At the same time, it's not something that we are going to lose the job just because of AI.
Now, Kaushal, you're in a position where, like, when you bring on a new client, do you have a specific headcount that is different per account? And do you think about it that way? So your teams are different size and scale, like, so you've got it down to onboarding. As you start to optimize the relationship, does that change? Or I'm just curious, like, where AI shows up in the whole process.
So AI steps across multiple processes, but one thing, Bryon, which we have maintained is that human touch, which is very essential today, because at the end of the day, people are tired of trying to get the things done from AI. Sorry to say that while I'm using AI to that great extent, but there are some limitations, and there is that connection which is needed. It's not only about getting the things done. Human beings need connection with other human beings. So at least all our onboarding and other stuff, we even have the kickoff call, simple things like kickoff call, right? That hey, at least the project has started. Let's all get on, all the stakeholders get into one common meeting. It may happen online, that's perfectly fine. But at least people are seeing each other's face, they're connecting with the humans on the other side. And that brings that particular connect. So no AI in terms of onboarding. But yes, there is a reason to optimization, and the optimization is all the ground level work which was happening mostly. In our case, we have to do lots of keyword research, lots of analysis, lots of content outlines, right? Doing the audits, etc. Now, many of these can be done via agents or AI optimizations, right? So all those places, at least we started working on it. The client servicing team remained the same. The project managers remained. The program managers, they were all taken care of. But yes, most of the junior people, where they were getting into that learning stage, though there we did not have those need to kind of replace those people.
Yeah, do you feel like you know now what your ROI has? I know ROI is a very difficult term to use in general, but you obviously went into AI recognizing you had to use it. But have you got any kind of an idea of how you've measured ROI against that activity?
So for us, the measurement is revenue per employee. So the revenue per employee as compared to the situation where we were, as compared to even currently where we are investing heavily in automation, this processes, system structures, because these are product enhancements at our own end. So we had to get a product team inside the organization. We had to get an engineering team to take care of things at our end. So even after creating that particular team, our revenue per person moved at least 60% higher as compared to what it was there earlier.
60?
60, yeah.
60, that's what I thought you said. Okay, yeah, that's pretty extraordinary.
Yeah, so 60% improvement in revenue per employee. When that comes in, you're automatically taking care of the margins and the other stuff.
Yeah, that's great. Well, congratulations on that. I felt like that was important for everybody to hear, because now when we start talking about your area of expertise, and we're talking about search, and search is a great big term. It's an evolving term. I hear some people go, SEO is dead and that's ridiculous. And then there's other people who say, okay, well, look, there's an entirely different world around this. And it's constantly changing. And so talk to us about if I'm running a small to medium-sized business and I'm developing my digital marketing and I'm thinking, I've done SEO, I know what that means, and I've done a little bit of SEM. When I start thinking about, GEO, I start thinking about search in new terms. What should be on my leaders list right now?
Okay. Thanks for sharing that. And SEO is dead. That's the statement which I'm listening to since the last 18 years now. It should be kind of framed somewhere and kept that, hey, this particular phrase is dead now, not SEO. But yes, search continues to evolve. And coming to your question, what should be on the leaders list as an organization when it comes to search engine optimization? And I'll add even generative engine optimization, because today when we speak of search, it's not only the traditional definition of search, which is mostly referring to that days of Google only, because 97% of share in most of the countries was with Google. And that's where that definition was also more of Google optimization than search engine optimization. But today search is happening on ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, etc. Right? And coming on all these platforms is really critical for anybody else. So for a leader, it's not only important to ensure that they are measuring how many people are coming, how many users are coming to their website, how many people are kind of coming from Google, versus how many people are coming from all these LLM tools, large language models like ChatGPT, etc. So it's important for people to understand those key KPIs. That, hey, what are the key indicators which I'm going to look at to measure performance? Some of those vanity metrics, like let's say impressions, clicks, may not move as desired, but that's okay. Because what is more critical in today's day and age is that, hey, is your revenue moving upwards? Are the number of leads which you're getting on your website, are they moving upwards? Are the number of leads which you're getting, if you're a B2B organization, are they moving higher? Right? So all these factors are more critical in today's day and age when you're looking towards generative engine optimization. Now, how do we do this, right? That's the other critical question which is embedded within this particular main question. So in the leaders list, first is definitely those right measurements through which they are going to look at the SEO and the GEO space. Now, when it comes to this particular space, they need to ensure that are they doing the right things? That's very critical. People today.
Okay, so let's just recap here real quick. Source, understand the source and channels, and just understand your metrics, but your metrics related to revenue metrics.
Yes, those are not only the top of the funnel, look at the bottom of the funnel. That's very critical today.
Okay, so then it gets to now, how do I do it? So this is the tactical side of it.
Yes, okay. So then at least how do we do that, right? And specifically when you're speaking of organic channel, you're not speaking of paid, where you are, I term it as rent, right? You pay rent to the Googles, you pay rent to the Metas or the other partners, right? I'm not speaking about just renting out somebody else's property and doing your business. I am speaking of building your own properties to sustain your business over the much longer run. Now, that's where when you're investing in your own property, people sometimes miss that, hey, technical optimization of your website is the most critical thing today. Because earlier it was only Google crawling mostly your website mostly, but today all the other bots are also crawling your website. So is your website quick and efficient enough to cater to all this vast number of bots which are crawling and understanding your website, right? So that at least I would term that as that, hey, when you want to do it, first definitely focus on the technical optimization of your website. The second part is have really interesting content, not only for Google, but even for the LLMs. Now, if you have to do something like this, you have to plan your content really well. That, hey, I have this one piece of content which I want Google to bring their users to my website. I am going to use the same content even for ChatGPT so that ChatGPT can bring a user to my website. And understand that most of these systems are not speaking with each other, right? Google doesn't speak with the ChatGPT. ChatGPT may not speak with the Claude. They are all speaking different languages, and at the same time they have different KPIs through which they're evaluating whether your website should be ranked or not, your website should get that visibility or not. So
that used to be just working against Google, right? We had to constantly kind of pre-think whatever their algorithm change was going to be, and should it be 700 words, should it be 1,200 words, should it be, does it have to have a tremendous amount of traffic to it? And so it was constantly working the algorithm.
True.
And you still have to do that, by the way, right? I mean, like that is a reality, is you have to, it may not be 90% anymore, but it's still a big dog. Yeah. But even Google is now summarizing everything from they're summarizing the AI response and the AI search. So when we're doing this from a technical perspective, are you framing your content on the site for Google search or for the LLMs or both? And so get into a little bit of the tactical side of that so we can understand that.
So it's essential to do it for both, right? I can't have a page. Let's say if I have a fashion website, I can't say that, hey, this page, which is there for dresses for women, is for Google. However, I have another page, same dresses for women for the ChatGPT. I can't say that. I have just one page, and I need to ensure that, hey, this one page becomes that particular source of information for Google, for ChatGPT, for Claude, Gemini, everything. So that content.
So you're looking for lowest common denominator that works among every one of those?
Yes. So that's something which is becoming more and more essential, that, hey, at least the content has to be created with that kind of outline, which increases your possibility of ranking across the LLMs and across the search ecosystem. You can't look at the search ecosystem now in silos that, hey, I'm going to cater only to Google. Then you're definitely headed in the wrong direction, because you never know when the things switch over here right now, right? With Google AI mode coming in, with all the other things, you never know when that switch will happen, or is it a gradual decline? But already what we are seeing is the mature users, the people who are doing more transactions, the people who are spending more money, have already started moving or moved to the LLMs for their decision making. So technical content. The other thing is there were some past principles of backlinking, and that's one of the abused word in the ecosystem. And a few years back, even I have recorded so many podcasts where I said that, hey, backlinking is dead. But somehow in the new era, backlinkings have come back. People are kind of seeing better rankings with those backlinks, etc. So yes, something was dead, but it has come back from the grave. So even focus on your backlink. So that would be at least the few things which I would like to have on the leaders list of those people who are working towards generative engine optimization and search engine optimization, at least the top 3.
Okay, that's great. So tech optimization, make sure the site naturally is formed for lowest common denominator to work across all kinds of search. Quality content. This is one thing I still feel like this is a bit of a challenge because it's a moving goalpost, right? So like how do you reframe and reformat content if Google starts to decide, I need 2,000 words and it needs to be exhaustive and you need to prove expertise. And then the LLM says, I like it in paragraph form because it's easier to serve back. Like which, in that situation, which is the master?
Yeah, so that's something which is a constant challenge which my team faces, right? That, hey, at least whom do we optimize for? One system is saying that, hey, follow this particular style. The other system is saying follow the other style. But one thing, at least, Bryon, which stands out is, if I have to give you one direction, create content for human beings. All these LLMs will follow. That's the best way to kind of handle content, because if you're creating content for human beings, all the systems are going to kind of follow that particular content because they also want their users who are coming to your website to be well served. They're looking towards that particular objective that, hey, when I am sending one particular user to this particular website, it better be a good website.
But that's also chicken and egg, right? I mean, like if you develop one page that is going to be an exceptional page for people,
Yeah.
but you can't get the search optimization right in the beginning that to have enough people on that page, then you're never going to realize the success. So it, like sometimes you have to, it seems like you have to trick the page a little bit, or, trick the algorithm a little bit. So what about like hidden pages, like the idea of developing, no, I am going to develop a page specifically for that LLM crawling?
So I'm completely against that. And the reason being, I'll tell you, Bryon, there is a dearth of time and energy across the globe right now. Whatever we say that, hey, AI will take away our jobs, but actually there is a dearth of time and energy right now in the ecosystem. Now, if I have to divide my energy across multiple pages, I would say just that the SEO does not know his or her job, how to do it well. And that's where he's landing up in creating this many different pages for that one particular page, which can be created. So I would say at least those people need to learn SEO in the best way, or generative engine optimization in the best way, so that they can handle those multiple number of LLMs via that one single page. Imagine me going and speaking with a marketer and telling that, hey, I'm going to create 5 different pages for dresses for women. Just because you have a Google, you have a ChatGPT, you have a cloud, and sometimes they would also not know which of these, when industry merges, right? You will soon see that particular time also coming in where LLMs will start merging and joining hands, so that at least they can ensure that they are leading this particular race and at least they are in the top 3. So soon that stage will come. You don't know which of these many LLMs today, which we are using, would merge and start kind of becoming common. In that particular situation, if I tell them that, hey, create 5 different pages for 5 different LLMs, I don't know if they'll allow my contract to survive. So,
Kaushal, I think this may be the first time I've ever heard somebody who specializes in SEO go, no, don't do the thing that takes more time and manage multiple pages. Because that, like go way back in SEO and people were doing turnstile pages and word stuffing, and like you constantly seems like you're chasing the algorithm. And so to hear you say that is actually kind of interesting to me, because like you said, there are a lot of people who were saying you have to get that text file built differently, and it has to exist so that the spiders can hit it, or the crawlers can hit it. So you're suggesting you can do a lowest common denominator that works across all search.
Yes, that's true. And that's where, again, Bryon, that brings me to that thought process, right? If organizations or if agencies are thinking more in terms of activity, which needs to be delivered to the client, they are going to take that approach which you suggested, create multiple pages.
Right.
But it should not be activity. It should be that, hey, how much value am I going to create for my client, right? And if you're looking towards yourself as an agency partner, if somebody's looking towards the outcome-based metrics, right? Hey, did I bring those many leads to the organization? Did I bring that much revenue to the organization? That's where you will start thinking a little deeper. You will understand the challenges of the person on the other side of the table, the marketer on the brand side. And if you get into their shoes, you will realize that, hey, it's better to make their life simple at the cost of your own challenges, instead of making your life easy and making their life difficult, right? Yeah. Because then the relationship is just going to survive for the contract period, nothing more than that. And as an organization, we don't even believe in contract period, right? We tell our brands that, hey, there's no need for contract. And sometimes they are surprised that, hey, at least how is this organization saying so? But we say that, hey, we are fine. At least you have a period of 30 days. We have already paid us. If you feel that we are not the right partners, we are not the right partners. You can just call it off. So they are pretty shocked, because we know that our work is going to do the talking. And that will be driving value to the organization.
Yeah, and we do the exact same thing, right? I mean, I have found it's almost antithetical. Like if you have short-term contracts and don't care about that, you focus much more on the relationship and you grow the relationship, and your tenure of relationship tends to be much, much longer, because it's not trying to lock someone in, and that just becomes a legal battle, if anything, if somebody wants out. So it's not worth it.
Yeah. Focus on the value. That's the only thing.
So now I'm gonna push back on that just a little bit. The idea of if I were to create additional pages, or whatever the tactic of the day is that requires me to create some complexity and add to something, a new source, you're suggesting, well, you got to do the value analysis of the amount of time and effort that goes into that. But the difference is, if I think about the new middle management, you know, the people on your team, they started managing people, but now, you know, in many cases, they're managing agents. Do we not live in an age where the complexity can actually, for the first time, be managed, right? I mean, we started talking about true one-to-one marketing, I don't know, 20 years ago. But now, with the use of AI, you are getting closer and closer to true one-to-one marketing. And so do you not consider, you know, sometimes, even if it is a bigger tactical lift or heavier work for you, using the tools that are available today, does it sometimes make sense to use that kind of complexity? Because now the ROI against it does make sense.
So, Bryon, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you, for answering this question, I'm going to take you almost around 15 years back, where I came across this interesting situation where my predecessor, who was also an SEO and a digital marketing person, told the engineer that, hey, for search engine optimization, we need more pages. And if there are more pages on the website, it's going to help us get more traffic. So the only instruction was that, hey, create pages. And the engineer did it really well. He created an algorithm through which the pages could be created at that kind of speed, where the number of pages on the website was 1 million. From that 1 million pages, it moved to 20 million pages.
Wow.
Now with this 20 million pages, nothing moved in terms of the visits coming onto the website. Organically, I'm speaking of that. At least organically, nothing happened, nothing moved. SEO did not favor them. And this is the good old days of Google itself. When I stepped in,
but were they chasing that aspect of the algorithm that said, you know, a site with depth has to have better content?
Yeah, so that's where they just moved onto those pages. They created so many pages, some of them even irrelevant pages, right? And they created 1 million to 20 million. Now, when this 20 million page happened, that was the time when he decided that he's going, because nothing is moving after creating those million pages. And I'm stepping into that particular organization. When I'm looking at the quality of pages, I have to maintain those 20,000 pages as a marketer. When you look at it, the enormous number of energy which is needed into that particular kind of task is humongous. Because somebody has to go through those pages and do the analysis of those pages as well, right? That, hey, why there is a low quality page, etc.
Yeah.
Even if you allocate 1,000 pages or even 1 million pages per SEO, you need 20 people at least to handle that kind of millions of pages, which is not a feasibility for any marketing organization. I don't know about the Walmarts and the Amazons of the world, but 20 SEO people working in one SEO team to maintain a website, it's not feasible. I stepped in and I killed those 20 million pages and brought it down again to that 1 million. And that point in time, within that period of 6 months, it took me 6 months to do that particular thing, and the traffic skyrocketed. The lesson to be learned over here is, one, managing those 20 million pages is not a small thing, because some human someday has to analyze that particular page, that, hey, why is this page not doing well? What is the challenge for this particular page? And that's not an analysis which is coming from any of the agents. And even if it is going to give you that initial study via the SEO agent, a human being has to evaluate that particular thing. So a human being is not eliminated completely from this particular job even when the AI came in. The human being is yet taking care of that analysis, that thought process, etc., which has to be done by the human. And even today, I'm sorry to say that none of those LLMs or any AI technology has come to that particular level that at least they can eradicate the entire SEO agency and say that, hey, this is going to be completely driven by SEO agents. So while I personally use them, but yes, they're there to do that low-level job. They can't do those advanced level things which human beings are meant for. So,
all right. So what I'm hearing you say is, even if tomorrow Google, every LLM evaluated your website and decided whether or not you were an expert by the number of pages, if they told us, nope, that's the defining factor, you still would say AI has not gotten us to a page where it makes sense for us to implement a strategy like that.
Yeah. So that at least those many pages doesn't make sense, because at the end, and Google is not going to change the way they do, because for them also, crawling those 20 million pages is a big headache for them. They themselves right now are kind of deprioritizing those pages, or de-indexing. In our technical language, we term it as de-indexing those pages and removing them from the index. Wherever see that the quality of the content is not that great, they're removing it from the index, because for them it needs time and energy again to crawl those pages.
That makes sense. So when people are done listening to this, Kaushal, they're going to go do one thing. And you gave us some good stuff. You know, they're going to go check their sources, and they're going to make sure that they understand their sources. They're going to move beyond the vanity metrics and marketing metrics, and they're going to start applying revenue-based metrics to those. And then you gave them some specific tactics that make sense as well. Is there anything else that, you know, before they go, you would say, hey, this is the thing you ought to make sure you go do first? Is that it?
I would just say that, hey, when you're going out, focus on what value you are creating for the other side, right? Don't only think about yourself, be a good human being, and think about how you're bringing value onto the table for the other human being who's interacting with you. You bring value to his or her life, and value will automatically increase in your life.
That's so great, Kaushal. I mean, you know, it's funny because we talk all the time about, you know, you have to understand the vision of an organization, and you have to understand your values. And you clearly have proven that you can continue to scale and grow a business and still be true to your values. So Kaushal Thakkar, thank you so much for being on the show. We loved having you, and we wish you the best of luck at Infidigit.
Thank you, Bryon. And it was a pleasure speaking with you and sharing my thoughts. Thank you for inviting me.